you guys from?
From Berlin, Germany.
Okay. And the question is basically, if your soccer team was leaving, how much would you pay annually to keep the team there?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why is that?
They earn so much money for marketing.
You guys think that instead of building these stadiums, our money should go towards building our city and the community?
Of course, 100%.
And I look at it from the standpoint that from all the times when I lived here and came to Cavs games, Browns games, Indians games, I spent some money. Concessions, parking, souvenirs. I know I spent a couple grand a year.
In the metrics. If it's worth it for the economy in Cleveland and it'll boost the economy, then I don't have a problem making that investment as long as I'm getting my fair share of the ROI.
Annually.
Okay. Man, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. You stumped me.
If the Bulls was leaving Chicago, how much would you pay annually to keep them there?
I wouldn't pay anything.
Okay.
I really wouldn't pay anything. I
probably wouldn't pay anything either.
Okay.
Come on, man. I'm stingy, dude.
The Raiders are still paying for their stadium. The Rams are still paying for their stadium from the 90s.
What do you mean pay? How much would I pay annually to keep them in town?
How much would you pay?
How much would I pay? I don't know. I don't know. I've never even thought of a question like that.
Old man like take somebody life like that.
Yeah, except the little boy that's staying around us, he's like somebody just killed my dad. I'm like, killed your daddy. I walked to the corner right here, seen everything taped off. I'm like, that's crazy. Crazy.
We gotta step up.
And the police and the politicians can do so much. It's us in the neighborhood. Men's got to be strong and say, look,
that's right.
We live here.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna have no shooting, killing in our neighborhood.
BMA.
Where we live at.
BMA.
Where we live.
BMA.
That's what we need some cleaning up to do. Yeah,
I hesitate. I say, is that a firecracker or a gun?
Yeah, actually, I was asleep, man, when it happened, man. I was up there sleeping in broad daylight. You know, I was catnapping for real.
Yeah.
And I heard the shot, but I didn't. It was sounded dull.
Yeah.
And it was, I heard my mom like, oh my God. Oh my. But that was that's the last thing I expected was somebody to be shot.
I understand.
I came downstairs. I'm like, what's wrong? She said, somebody outside our house dead. I peeked outside. Real.
What'd you see? The man laying over there by the fence with two little bags in his hand. He had two little bags, like he hold up his hand like that. They shot that poor man right dead in the head. But I didn't see the car. When he shot that man, that car moved so fast. That old man hit the ground so hard. He wasn't bothering nobody. I
don't even want my kids to come outside.
That's what I'm talking about.
She panicking. You know, she got congestion heart failure.
Yeah.
And remind y'all, I'm like, so I gotta stay at a stable mood now.
Then when he got in the car, I saw the sun, baby, right there where them balloons at, and him slooped over with blood coming out of him near the fence. Yeah.
Right in there.
I said, is he dead? Is he dead? I knew he was a man.
Yeah.
An older fella, because I saw the beard and stuff.
Yeah.
I could see it from across the street, but the sun was blinding on him. The sun was shining on him so much.
Yeah.
Is if you see something bad and you think that it shouldn't be happening, go tell a adult or somebody. Let your voice be heard, like how I let my voice be heard.
She should still be alive. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Who do we want justice for? Tanasia. Who do we want justice for? Tanasia. When do we want it?
Let him go first. Let him go first.
When do we want it?
Let the children go first. Let the children go
When
first.
do we want it? Now. When do we want it? Now. No justice, no peace.
type of situation. I should be the last teen, kid, anything. I should be the last person to witness this. I don't want no other youth person.
But what if, you know, the adults are big and kids are small? What if you're scared?
Don't be scared. Like, the whole point is to let your voice be heard. If you know it's wrong, say something. Because most people is scared, and most people is scared. But
who can you tell if you're scared at home?
Tell an adult. Tell somebody you trust. That's what I want to say. Tell somebody who you trust.
We are taking our communities back. Will you join the procession?
On the other end of the voice was a young lady who told me that Kwan is in the hospital and he may not make it. And I'm like, what do you mean? She said that he's been stabbed and they saying he is not responding. I hung up the phone.
Kizzy, tell me what went through your mind at that very moment.
At that very moment, I almost lost my mind, literally.
God can make you put your drugs down, put your adultery down, put your pornography down. Come to him just like you are. Give this to the police. Come on, praise God, everybody. She put it down. 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 Is there somebody else here?
Meet us at the Casket Crusade, 5 p.m. The Shaw Football Stadium. Let's stop the overdose. Let's stop the killing. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Let's stop the killing. Let's stop the murder. Lord, I pray you bless them. No more suicide. No untimely death. That truck gotta move.
The slaves that came from Africa were forced on ships were Muslims. So again, the Muslims that we are trying to ban now have been in the United States for many, many years before even the creation of the United States of America.
And you were at a refugee camp for 20 years?
Yes, I stayed in the Daca refugee camps for 22 years. I think it should be even more than 22. I know a friend of mine, two families of, where we used to live together in the Daca refugee camp. And they were coming before they died. They were supposed to come here. They were returned back from Nairobi airport.
How long were they in the camp?
The same I was, even more.
So we're talking about almost 30 years? Almost
25 years, I think.
These people are probably more squeaky clean than most of us who were born in this country. 1 out of 100, only 1 out of 100 gets to be selected to become a refugee. Imagine the odds against you. And then once you are selected to be a refugee, then you can be vetted with your family. The vast majority of those who get accepted as refugees are family members, mostly women and their children.
And what was the screening process like getting over here?
I will say the screening process to get here was so intensive. It took me about 5 years to come here. So it was extremely, extremely intensive.
If you saw the way that police beat that man up in Euclid all over the world, then you need to take a knee. Take a knee for justice.
You gotta donate all your money to college.
Take a knee for justice. No, take a knee. All right, I love the fist. Take a knee. So when you leave that Brown Stadium, you're gonna have to come right back and deal with some of the hell we live with.
Do that stupid shit.
Take a knee for justice, dog pound. Hell no. Take a knee for justice. Hey, black man. Oh, you black. No, you ain't black, so you don't know about justice. You just got a tan. I see it now. I recognize. I thought you was black for a minute. I love you, sir. I love you, Steelers fan. I love you, Steelers fan. Take the knee for justice. Let's say that one more time. Y'all spend thousands of dollars going to see the Browns, going to see the Browns game,
Oh, you love the black players when they score the touchdowns and do all those other things. But Lord have mercy, when they get on their knees, for justice, you don't like the brown players no more. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Football players and others standing up to take a knee. Listen, just because you play football, that don't mean you don't believe in justice. Just because you play football, that don't mean that ain't nothing happening to you because you're black. No justice? Come on, take a knee with us, brother, one time before you go in the state. They ain't gonna take your season ticket. Take a knee with us. Take a knee for justice. I never take a knee for Kaepernick.
Take a knee for Kaepernick.
We're here to speak loudly to the people that just blindly go to Browns games, and they do it year after year. And they pay the money, and they don't even care where that money's being spent or how it's being spent. Take a knee for justice! Hey, it's Sunday, don't cuss on a Sunday!
We're not here for fun or entertainment. We are here to recognize the bravery of Colin Kaepernick. We're here brave enough to take a knee and admit. All right, brave Americans.
Holy Trinity Missionary Baptist Church, and we're here to honor the Judge G. Merle Capers. We're having a memorial for her today, so we have a lot of people here. She was well loved.
Truths are not taught in the schools. It's whitewashed. We're not rewriting history. All we're doing is
How many
telling
little
the truth.
kids did you scalp? How many babies did you scalp?
Sir,
How many babies did you
we
scalp?
scalped then. It started moving around the country.
You don't even know this guy. Huh? What do you know about him?
Mass
What do
murderer.
you know? How do you know?
In 1937,
History? History what?
Theology.
your vote.
His own words.
There's fake news right now, going out right now. Fake news. How do you know this is history? What we talk about the Aztecs? They
Please don't touch
they
me.
slaughter our whole administration.
Sir, come on. Come with me.
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
I'm not
Let them do what they're
just
doing, all right?
stick it up your ass.
Come on.
Nobody wants to recognize him. This man deserves no honor.
Can we have our sign back?
Get your sign, bro. Get your sign.
Can we have our sign back?
I have never seen anyone.
I know it's a piece of cardboard, sir, but you gotta give it back.
Yet in this country, we celebrate a genocidal maniac.
Why don't you go to Chicago? They're killing people right now.
Who's killing people?
People are getting killed in Chicago by the day. Hundreds. Why don't you go over there and get
Yet
listening?
this genocide
Why don't you
on this
genocide
continent,
your
on this
ass?
side of the world hasn't stopped.
Genocide.
This wasn't even a holiday until 1937 when Franklin D. Roosevelt needed your vote. You got played. No, sir, I will not get out of here. This is still our land.
I don't want that sign on that monument. That's not their fucking monument. Don't be smiling at me.
You're lucky he's here.
journal.
Get out of here. Get
From his own journal. Also, from the journals
They
of
wiped
many
out a whole
people
civilization. The
that came there.
Aztecs, the Spanish. What did you talk about that?
That was the last time I saw my mother. I was 19 years old and I'm 24 today. It was the last time I saw her and the last time that, thankfully, the agent was so nice to let me go back into the cell and say goodbye to her. My mother was in a cold metal cell, sitting there, reading her Bible, because that's what she did. So my father gets deported and I didn't tell anyone. Mind you, when I was in high school, before Daca, we never spoke about it. We lived in fear. We couldn't tell our friends who we were because we never knew who would be hearing and who would be telling on us. So I end up almost falling into depression after my father got deported. Then school was going on, graduation was coming, everything was so hard, and she got deported. Well, she ended up being detained for like a month. So then my savings, again, had to go for my mother's legal fees and relocating her, buying a plane ticket for her and sending her to Mexico and having her start all over again over there without her children.
All mass culture under monopoly is identical. Those in charge no longer take much trouble to conceal the structure, the power of which increases, the more bluntly its existence is admitted. Films and radio no longer need to present themselves as art. The truth that they are nothing but business is used as an ideology to legitimize the trash that they produce. In reality, a psycho-manipulation and retroactive is unifying the system ever so tightly. What is not mentioned is that the basis on which technology is gaining power over society is the power of those whose economic position in society is strongest. The mentality of the public, which allegedly and actually favors the system of a cultural industry, is a part of the system, not an excuse for it. The relentless unity of the cultural industry bear witness to the emergent unity of politics. The advantages and disadvantages debated by enthusiasts serve to only perpetuate the appearance of competition and choice. The products of the cultural industry are such that they can be alertly consumed even in a state of distraction. Entertainment is the prolongation of work under late capitalism. It is sought by those who want to escape the mechanized labor process so that they cope with it again. The only escape from process in factory and office is adaptation to it in leisure time. This is the incurable sickness of all entertainment. Amusement congeals into boredom, since to be amused must cost no effort. The spectator must need no thoughts of his own. The product prescribes each reaction, not through any actual coherence, but through signals. No stimulant concocted by the experts may escape the weary eye. Even by the measure of the existing order, the bloated entertainment apparatus does not make life more worthy of human beings. Amusement itself becomes a goal, taking the place of the higher values it eradicates from the masses by repeating them in an even more stereotyped form than the advertising slogans paid for by private interests. Existence in late capitalism is a permanent rite of initiation. Everyone must show that they identify wholeheartedly with the power which beats them. In their weakness, society recognizes its own strength and passes some of it back to them. Their lack of resistance certifies them as reliable customers.
Voting for the Democratic Party like no other race in America, and they have not given us the same loyalty and love that we have given them. We as black people have to re-examine the relationship where we're being pimped like prostitutes, and they're the big pimps pimping us politically, promising us everything, and we get nothing in return. We got to step back now as black people and say we got to look at all the parties and vote our best interest.
We offer immediate and accessible, low cost, shaky ownership, tax delinquent, all sorts of things, land, all the good stuff that you guys like, right? Yeah. Black folks don't get this, you know. I'm kidding, by the way, I'm kidding. No, I'm not really.
People talk about being afraid of Donald Trump. We have a little coward here in East Cleveland, Gary Norton, who's having his political opponents put in jail right now. And people are afraid of what could happen with Donald Trump. We have worse than Trump right here in East Cleveland. I had a public defender who appeared as if she were Johnny Cochran, relative to the poor performance of Willa Hemmings. So there's a completely undemocratic character to this regime, which is nothing but the leftovers of the regime we recall.
That's why I love Devin Branch, because Devin has been out in those streets, porch to porch, house to house, listening to the people, listening to their concerns. Ain't asked you to make no damn list with 5 things that's wrong. Can't you see what's wrong? Ray Charles can see what's wrong. Why can't you?
Oh, they let them beat us on the corners. Okay. See. Hey.
How do you say there was no real call to action? Do you see the improvements that's been made?
Oh, I know exactly everything that's happened. So,
no, I'm not just saying up the hill. I'm saying down the hill.
I don't live up there. I live down the hill. So what happened?
No,
was
I'm
this.
just saying up and down the hill.
I know.
It makes a big difference.
So what happened was this.
And that's what residents see. Tell me why
4
wasn't
opportunities to debate. I showed up at all 4. How many did Brandon show up at? 0.
Really?
If the people is ready for a change, they would make that change. It ain't nothing. I'm not ashamed of my age. 79 years old. If I can't do nothing but speak the truth and sit out here in this cold and pass out literature, I'm trying to do something to help my city.
Disappointing to many of you. That was disappointing to all of us, actually.
I think we think about this as though it might be a normal election, but
it is what it is. And you can't pretend your way out of actualities. It is what it is for the time being.
If you think the Democratic Party of Cuyahoga County was going to let the mayor's office of East Cleveland go to the Greens easily,
we know we have the support of the people below the hill, but they